guys, it's Emily, and today I'm here to bring you my December wrap-up. I have decided that because I have so many end of the year videos that I want to make this year, that I'm going to do a wrap-up, one big wrap-up at the end of the month instead of my recent reads videos, and I'm going to try to do short, succinct summaries of the books I read as soon as I read them so that they're stuck in my head better. So the first book on my TBR that I actually finished in November. So I'm starting this the last week of November, and that book was Where the Crontab Sing by Delia Owens. And I actually just finished this morning, and this is a sort of half murder mystery, half coming of age story. And sorry, my cat, can you hear that? My cat is riding the stop. Okay, anyway, so this is sort of a half murder mystery, half coming of age story about a girl named Kaya, and she lives in the marshes of North Carolina. She was abandoned by her family at a very young age, and she begins to basically take care of herself. So we see her life in the marsh, and we see her relationship with two different men, one named Tate and one named Chase, and then we start to see that eventually Chase is murdered. Or, well, they don't know for sure that he's murdered, but he has a very sudden and unexpected death in a very gruesome way, and so they assume it's murder, and the local sheriff begins to suspect Kaya due to the previous relationship she had with Chase. So we see their history, we see Kaya's childhood and growing up years, and then we go forward and see the murder trial of Kaya, and then we eventually find out what happened to Chase and how he died and all of that. So it's a really interesting book. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. I got this because my mom had heard so much about it, and she bought her own copy, and then she's been lending it out to people. I'm actually taking this to Thanksgiving so that my mom can lend it to her sister, my aunt, and I really enjoyed this, and it was a great way to sort of cleanse the palate after reading so much nonfiction in November, and I'm looking forward to the rest of my December TBR. I just finished wrapping up my Thanksgiving break vlog, and I forgot to mention in there, but I finished the Alice Network. It's the 1st of December, and I finished the second book on my December TBR. This is a historical fiction novel following 2 different storylines. The first one being Eve, who is a spy in World War I during starting in 1915 and going to 1918, and then the second storyline is Charlie, who is a young girl searching for her cousin who has gone missing during World War II. And she also interacts with Eve, and it's about these 2 ladies and their experiences and how the war has affected them and affected their families. And it's just a really fascinating book. I was a little disappointed because I felt like Charlie's storyline wasn't quite as exciting as I'd hoped, but overall it was pretty good. And this was my book club book for the month, and now I got 2 weeks to think about it before the discussion. But yeah, a really great way to pass the time during Thanksgiving break when, I was not busy with them. 2 books since my last update, but I'm not going to talk about them very much in here because both of them are going to be featured in other videos. The first one that I finished recently was Sapphire and the Slave Girl by Willa, Cather, and this was my final book for my year of Willa, Cather reading, so I'm going to be mentioning this mostly in my wrap-up video of that experience. But basically this was pretty good. It's about what it says, Sapphire and her slave girl, and how their lives are intertwined. It takes place in the 1850s in Virginia here in the States, and it's about slavery and the impact of slavery and how the myth of the benevolent master is always going to be a fake myth. And it's pretty interesting, and it was a great way to finish off my experience. But yeah, more in detail in the other video. I also finished my Cloak and Dagger Christmas read, which was The Widows of Malabar Hill by Sujata Massey. And this actually was so good that I'm going to talk about it in my video for Mel's Advent Calendar. I really loved this book. It was really interesting. The heroine is Pervert mystery, and she is a solicitor in Bombay in the 1920s when India is still under British rule, and so she is working with these three widows who are in seclusion. They do not go outside, and they have a house where they have separate rooms from the rest of the family, their husband, and their husband has died, but then their agent is found murdered, and she is working to figure out who did that, and she also is working with them to sort of help them after their husband died because they're not used to, really having to take care of themselves. So this is a really interesting book. I can't wait to talk about it for my video for Mel's Advocate. It's time for another update. I've finished 2 more books, and I've enjoyed both of them a lot. The first one was Giant Days Volume 11, which was created by John Allison, and then Max Sarin and Whitney Cogar both worked on this issue. And this follows Daisy, Esther, and Susan and the first semester of their 3rd year at university, and it's their last year. And I just read that Giant Days is coming to a close, which is really sad. But yeah, they just get into a bunch of hijinks. It covers Halloween and Christmas, and there's some, love relationships going on, ex-girlfriends, new boyfriends, all kinds of fun stuff. And I've always really enjoyed the newest issue of Giant Days. I also finished Faithful Place by Tana. This is the 3rd book in the Dublin Murder Squad series. This one follows Frank Mackey, who is the detective in the undercover department at the Dublin Murder Squad, and he's been in the previous 2 books, but this time he is investigating a murder that happened in his own hometown, and he actually knew the person. I won't tell you anything about it because I feel like that might be a spoiler, but this was a really engaging book. I absolutely loved it. I picked this up on a whim, and I just really was glad I picked it up. It also is set at Christmas time, which made it really appropriate, and I didn't know that. I just picked it up because this was the one I was on. And yeah, I'm already really looking forward to getting the 4th book, possibly in January, but definitely during March Mystery Madness, if nothing else. I feel like ever since I started doing March Mystery Madness, I always save my mystery reading till then, which is dumb because A, there's a ton of mysteries out there, so I could just get some more, and B, I feel like I deprive myself. Sometimes I'm like, I want to read a mystery, and then I'm like, oh, I should save that. So yeah, I'm really glad I picked this up, and I've really enjoyed it, and I definitely recommend it. I recommend the Dublin Murder Squad series as a whole. If you like character-driven mysteries, it's definitely more about the characters and their relationships than actually figuring out who done it. I mean, because in this one, you find out who done it 100 pages before the end. So then it's just about him coming to grips with who done it and the confrontation and then the aftermath after the person goes to jail. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. Definitely recommend if you're interested in a new mystery series. And the first one is In the Woods, which is really great, and then the second one is the Likeness, which is also really great. So yeah, really enjoyed my reading so far this week. Hello, I just wanted to give a quick ending to this wrap up. I've decided to split it into 2 parts because I already have a lot of footage and I have a lot more books I want to read before the end of the month. So I hope you've enjoyed this part of my wrap up, and I'll have the second part out probably in early January. Bye!